Pharisees brought to him a woman caught in the act of adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they said to him, Teacher, this woman was caught in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us to stone such a woman. What do you have to say about it? They said this, testing him, that he may have something of which to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down and wrote on the ground with his finger, as though he did not hear them. So when they continued asking him, he raised himself up and said to them, He who is without sin among you, let him be the first to throw a stone at her. And again he bent down and wrote on the ground. Then those who heard him, being convicted by their conscience, went on to walk away one by one, beginning with the oldest and even to the last. And Jesus was left alone with the woman still standing there in the midst. When Jesus had raised himself up and saw that no one but the woman was there, he said to her, Woman, where are those who accuse you? Has no one condemned you? She said, No one, Lord. And Jesus said to her, Neither do I condemn you. Go now and leave this life of sin.
Hallelujah.
Now a certain man who was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. When Jesus had heard that he was sick, he said, The sickness will not end in death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that what you ask of God will be given to you. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know he will rise again in the resurrection in the last days. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he dies, shall live again. Then Jesus, again groaning himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave with a stone laid across it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. But Lord, Martha said, He has been in the tomb for 4 days, and by now there's a bad odor. Jesus said to her, Did I not tell you that if you believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you, for you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of these people who are standing here, I say this, that they may believe that you have sent me. Now when he had said these things, he cried out in a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth! And he who had died came out, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped in a cloth. Jesus said to them, Loosen him, take off the grave clothes, and let him go. Then, 6 days before the Passover, Jesus came to Bethany, where Lazarus was, whom he had raised from the dead. There they made a supper in Jesus' honor, and Martha served, but Lazarus was one of those who sat at the table reclining with him. Then Mary took about a pound of costly spikenard. She anointed the feet of Jesus and wiped his feet with her hair. The whole house was filled with the fragrance of the perfume. But one of his disciples, Judas Iscariot, who was later to betray him, objected. Why was this fragrant oil not sold for 300 denarii and given to the poor? He said this because not he cared about the poor, but because he was a thief, and as keeper of the money bag, he helped himself to what was planned. But Jesus said, leave her alone. She has kept this for the very day of my burial. For the poor you will always have among you, but you will not always have me.